Hello, I'm Rayssa Tree. I'm a professional astrologer, and we're here today to talk about what is astrology, at least to me. Why do people study it? Why did I study it? Why do we read natal charts? How can we benefit from the study of astrology? So let's go way back into caveman time. People lived out of the earth and they depended on the earth primarily for their survival. So the first thing that they noticed were the seasons. They noticed that every 2 or 3 months, the climate would just change kind of drastically. And so the crops they depended on to live, the animals that were present at a certain region, all of this, boom, it would change. This was the first forecast that human beings did that permitted their survival. They noticed that every year there would be a cycle of seasons. And so they would prepare for this cycle of seasons. They would stock food when winter was coming, and they would plant crops before spring because they knew that at spring these things would flourish. So this was a sun-based forecast. There were also moon-based forecasts. So every 7 days or so, the moon would change its shape. It's pretty crazy. There would be eclipses and there would be events happening related to the moon, and they saw that these effects, they had a relation with what was happening here on Earth, and there could be a better use of this. Throughout this path in the sky of the sun and the moon, there were shiny bodies behind it all. Okay? These were called stars, and these, apparently they did not move from year to year. You would see different stars throughout the year, but they had always a fixed position. The stars right behind the path of the moon and the sun is what we named as the zodiac. People divided the sky into 12 sections and named each of the section what we know as the star signs today. It was the Mesopotamians around 3500 before Christ who first documented the discovery of planets, or planetas as they used to call them, wanderers. They discovered that these bodies that went through the sun-moon path, they moved at a certain unpredictable way related to what they all knew. So they started tracking the movement of these planets, and they named these planets after their deities, their gods. They represented archetypes. They represented deeply seated needs of the human subconscious, or ways of expression of the human subconscious. That's what Jung later called as the collective unconsciousness. These gods, they represented traits of humanity. And they attributed these traits of humanity to planets. By looking at their physical characteristics and a little about their movement, they determined, for example, that Saturn, the last planet that can be seen with the naked eye, represented limits, and so had a relation with the god Saturn. It represented endings, it represented death. Jupiter, per se, the biggest planet of all, was the king of heavens, and Venus, Ishtar, the queen of beauty and the queen of the skies, the most beautiful and bright star. So first, these meanings, they had to do with the physical characteristics of the planet. Mercury, for example, it moves so fast, it's so close to the sun. Seen from Earth, it has a very rapid movement. So it was associated with the god Mercury, or Hermes, the messenger, okay, the one responsible for movement. So these planets, they gained astrological meaning throughout time. This astrological meaning or indicator of a planet was constructed over time based on observations. These people noticed that when this certain planet was at this section of the sky, there would be events happening on Earth that were related with this. Let's say Mars. When Mars was at a given point at the sky, there might have been more wars. There might have been more fight for territory. There might have been more sexual energy present. There might have been more making of tools. These planets and their position in the sky had a relation with what was happening here. This is a very interesting part we get to. The sky does not dictate what happens here. The sky is merely a mirror. Okay? The sky is merely a mirror. In this linear way of thinking of cause and effect, we always try to find what is causing what. Is it the moving of the planets that are causing something here to happen on Earth? It's because the moon is full that our emotions are just overflowing. But no, actually, the sky just tells the story of what happens here on Earth. There is no cause and effect. Things are not determined by us on Earth and the stars rearrange itself so that it tells a story. It is merely a mirror. But it is a mirror that we can learn to read. So if we learn to read the sky, at this moment, we know more about the energies present in our surroundings through this lens that is the sky. So if you know there's a full moon, you know that your feelings might just be on your skin. And this is a type of prediction. What is so crazy about studying the sky is that these planets that had not necessarily an orderly movement, they had a pattern. It would change from year to year, but every however many years, the pattern would go back to its beginning. So nowadays, we have ephemerides, which tell us the positioning of the sky based on a certain year. Because this movement is cyclical, because there is a pattern, we can read into the past and we can read into the future. If I can have a picture of the sky in 50 years, I can tell you the energy that is present in 50 years at that given place for the chart and at that given time. When we read a natal chart, and a natal chart is basically a picture of the sky the moment you were born, we talk about what energy was present at that moment. What energy was present at the birth of this person, what energy is present with the life story of this person. Now, of course, a reading in person takes in account the experiences of this person and their view on these experiences. Okay? But just by reading a chart, you can say a little more of what the energies that were present in infancy and childhood, how communication goes for this person, apparently what would happen in her love life, if she married fast or if she had many kids, these sort of things. You can say what is the tendency for with the birth chart. And so why do we do these readings? Well, if you can know beforehand the energies that will be dominant at a certain moment, you can make better use of it. And if you can know the energies that are dominant to your personality, you can also make better use of it. You see, the chart is exactly what its name says. It's a chart. It's a map. If you have a map, you might as well use it for direction. So when I do readings, for example, I really love to help the person to try to make the best use of that energy present, to try and be the most efficient possible, be the happiest and joyful, doing what they're doing, doing what they're meant to do. As in, our soul in this incarnation, it has a mission. It's not something that you have to do, but it's something that your heart will be deeply filled with joy if you follow. And in your chart, we can see this. So astrological charts can be used for a variety of things. It can be used to forecast, to do predictions. It can be used to look into the past and understand better events that have already happened. It can be used for personal development and self-growth. It can be used as an oracle into the soul. So I really love doing this, and I'm starting a channel now where I'm gonna share with you a little more about what I know. We'll be doing signs and ascendants and later on aspects. So if you'd like to join us, hit the subscribe button and I'll be back with more videos. Thank you.